All right, Lagos, it is 17 minutes gone past 5. You are tuned into Business Hub here in Smooth 98.1. My name still remains Joy Ure. And on Business Hub today, we're talking about taxes today for SMEs because Lagos State continues to dominate all states with 1 trillion naira in revenue coming from taxes in 2024. But how should SMEs navigate the tax waters in Nigeria? Well, we have a special guest who will answer some of our questions this evening in the person of Adeniyi Bamgboye. He's the managing partner at Empyrean Professional Tax and Audit Services. Good evening, Adeniyi, and good to have you with me.
Good evening. I'm so happy to be here. Good evening. Thank you very much.
Awesome, awesome. Lagos, you also get to be a part of the conversation. You have questions, you have observations. You're in this space, you're an SME. Hey, I'd love to hear from you. And you can be a part of Business Hub by sharing your thoughts on WhatsApp 0911 999 0981 0911 999 0981. So talking about when it comes to SMEs, there are a lot of things Lagos State has been doing. So I know that let's start with Lagos. How has Lagos dominated other states when it comes to collecting tax revenue?
Okay, as we all know, Lagos State is the Nigerian's economic hub.
Okay.
Contributing over 30% of the country's current GDP, and its population exceeds over 20 million. And this has, we have a lot of significant commercial activities going on in the state, and it has enhanced its tax base. So, and taxes in Lagos State are being collected, are being administered by the Lagos State Inland Revenue Service. And over time, the LRS has implemented various strategies to improve tax collection efficiency. So gone are the days whereby you want to file your taxes, you have to go to the tax station, fill your form, But now you can do that from the comfort of your room, anywhere in anywhere you have in the world. You can file in your taxes, do your assessments online real time. Things are better compared to where we've been 5 years ago. So that's one of the reasons why, that's one of the reasons why they keep the taxes keeps increasing on a yearly basis.
Okay, so it seems they know what they're doing and they're taking well. That's why they are on top of things. But it's a difference between an SME in the informal sector and one in the formal sector being recognized as paying taxes to the state, because that's another thing. Some people will say, okay, no, it's only certain people only for those in the formal sector that are supposed to be paying taxes, or those are the ones that are recognized.
Okay, if you look at it, if you want to juxtapose the formal and informal sector as regards if we place them side by side, we will note, if we take, according to research, most of the people in the informal sector are actually the unbanked and lesser educated. And people in the formal sector are quite organized, and it's easier for the government to track the activities. Research indicates that the formal sector SMEs are more likely to comply with tax obligation due to regulatory requirements. Before you can be registered, you must register with the CAC, the LRS, and the FI. So there is a little bit of structure. Unlike the informal sector, that with just a little capital, you can just get your goods from by the roadside or get a small shop by start operating. True. Yeah, so it's a significant proportion of SME in Nigeria at large remains informal, and this has led to substantial tax revenue losses over the years. And notwithstanding, doesn't mean those in the informal sector don't pay taxes. What most of them pay are levies, and most of most of these revenues goes to I call them the gatekeepers of the economy.
Okay.
So they actually pay. They actually pay, but most times those monies goes to the wrong. If you take a trip to an average food seller in Balogun market or in the Sumu market, they give them on a daily basis.
Tickets. Yes, tickets that they get to.
Yes, they get ticketed on a daily basis, and to them they see it as a form of taxes, even though levies anyway. But to them, they see themselves as taxpayers, and all these monies are not really accounted for. You look at the transporters too. I can go and on.
Yes, that's another one. That's another quagmire, because all my days, I happened to apply. I decided to go into the open market some days ago, and decided, okay, rather than go with a car, let me go with the public transport. And the amount of people taxing, and I'm like, okay, so how much really is this person going to take home at the end of the day if he's asked to drop at every other bus stop or every other stop he makes? And it's
something
else.
It calls for concern, you know.
But how is it that we can streamline things so we're not having this in this? It's called levies for those in the market. They look at them as levies, because if they're not paying, there are fines, or they're harassed. How can we streamline them so that they actually know that these are their taxes? These are things that they are paying, as opposed to just saying, well, I paid my dues for today. These are the things I'm expected to pay today, and that's it.
I think the government should. I think that's where the government comes in. It's enlightenment. The government enlighten them the more. They should speak to them in the language they understand. Okay. Break it down to the simplest. Speak to them in their native language, and the government should be accountable, because studies have shown that that our current tax morale is low. Why is this so? Because the citizens claim that they don't know what
the taxes
for. So so I remember when Governor Fashola was the governor. He was. I think there was a slogan then. He said, "It pays to pay your tax, your tax action, your things like that." So the government through the LRS should do more sensitization. Speak to the players in these sectors, and to tell them the benefits of tax compliance. I think that's one of the ways they can drive. They can increase the tax drive, because a lot of people are tax averse, and yes. So I think that's one of the ways to curb this.
Okay. All right. Cisco says it's not only Balogun market, it's applicable to other places like Mile 12. Yeah. So he's just citing that as an example, not saying it's only in Balogun. All markets also go through that form of levy or taxation, whichever way you want to look at it. But thank you so much, Cisco, for always sharing your insights as well. Don't forget, Lagos, you can be a part of the conversation, be a part of Business Hub today. Share your thoughts, questions, contributions. Would appreciate it. 0911 999 0981. Okay, so now for the SME, what's your advice for those who want to operate in the light and be, in a sense, formally recognized by the state? What should they do?
Okay, the first thing as an SME is to get yourself registered.
Okay.
You know, the Federal Inland Revenue always recommend that all SMEs must you must get registered with this Corporate Affairs Commission. You must have your TIN, tax identification number, because your tax identification number serves as a link between yourself and the government.
Right.
It's a way through which the government can track all your activities, all your correspondence with the government is tracked by the way with your team. So you must also maintain accurate record. You must also seek professional advice when necessary from either your accountant and your tax consultant, so you can navigate your tax responsibility effectively. And you must also keep abreast with current tax very complex. So you must just have as a tax consultant and accountant as a friend, and you must ensure you keep record and get your business registered.
I like the fact that you say you need to keep record because record keeping can be a bit tricky, especially for SMEs. And here's where I'm going, right? There's this usual complaint about tax burden, or you're collecting this levy today, and I'm using the example that you gave for markets. You're taking one person will come take money in the morning, another comes takes money in the afternoon, another comes takes money in the evening. So that could be a burden for those SMEs who are trying to, hey, for someone who's trying to sell little items and they've not even made a sale, and you're expecting them to pay certain levies. It now feels like, to what end? How am I also going to, I have this store, I haven't made anything, but you're already here to collect from me. It just feels like it's a burden. But how can they even reduce it?
Okay, and for every SME, because ideally tax is based on profits.
Okay.
Without any profit, there shouldn't be a tax. There shouldn't be. So you can't tax someone who is out of job. I have to be in employment for you to be able to tax me. I have to make profits for you to be able to tax me. So for SMEs to take advantage of all this, I'll still go back to what I said earlier. It's about being registered. And we have agencies like SMEs, the Small and Medium Enterprise Development of Nigeria. They have a lot of initiatives, which pass tax release deduction and for certain expenses, So for SMEs playing in specific sectors. So the first thing is to get yourself registered. Once you have you've done your registration, then you can say you have an identity. You can't be using your personal account and want the government to assist you and want to enjoy the benefit and want to use that to reduce your taxes. And I also go back to record keeping too, because if you can't claim incentives, you can't claim tax credit when you don't keep records. You must be able to show evidence of record keeping. You must be able to show evidence of the expenses you've incurred in generating certain amount of profit or certain amount of sale, as the case may be. So the key to this is to keep records and get registered, so you have an identity. I can stop there for now.
Yes, and it's actually ideal that we stop at this junction because we have a break. We have a quick breather to take. Let's take that breather when we get back, and we'll talk more about how hey, we need to start talking about how we need to digitize our system. That's one thing I think we SMEs need to start adopting, but we'll talk more about that. And also, hey, maybe how we can look at taxes going into 2026. That one. Some people are not looking forward to 2026, but I am.
I'm also looking forward to. Yeah.
We'll talk about that on the other side. Lagos, the moving muscle. Whether you're flying, bro.
family celebration, or a much-needed reunion, fly Emirates and start your holiday on board. Explore up to 6,500 channels of entertainment, including live sports. Stay connected with onboard Wi-Fi. Enjoy special meals and toys for kids. Relax in comfort with world-class service all the way. Choose from over 150 destinations, including Dubai, India, the UK, and USA. Book now at Emirates.com. Fly Emirates. Better.
I don't finally save 70,000 for this economy. 30 December, don't say. It could do. But if to say you save with the smart saver, another 10,500 naira for that clever. Now 15% interest per annum be that.
And now, they use smart cash buy data, airtime, and pay bills. Now, we don't have the smart saver. You go get 15% interest on any amount you save, and the interest go to drop for your account every day. You come out your money anytime. The best part be say you fit start with any amount. Dial star 939 hash or download the Smart Cash app. Make yourself begin to enjoy. Smart Cash now by Airtel. Terms and conditions they shall. Money matter, not sense.
Tools and tips for a successful business.
Atmosphere for our young people to be creative, innovative, and participate in the ICT revolution.
On Smooth.
Stay tuned.
All right, Lagos, 34 minutes gone past 5. You are tuned into Smooth 98.1 Business Hub here. And on Business Hub, we're talking about important tax tips for SMEs in Nigeria. And my guest who is sharing great insight is Adeniyi Bamgboye. And he is the managing partner at Empyrean Professional Tax and Audit Services. And he's been giving great insights. But now let's get into the digitization of operation when it comes to tax and all that. How much does digitization of operations actually help when it comes to getting clarity on tax?
Okay, when people hear digitalization, they think, especially SMEs, they think it's one big word that will spend
yes, now.
As a business, as a small business owner, as an SME owner, as I'm as a business owner, small business owner, you using your WhatsApp for your business is a form of digitalization. Right. Using free software, invoicing software, is a form of digitalization. At least with that, you don't rely on paper invoices. You don't have to use pen and tear your invoice like those markets. It's not when they hear this, they think you have to deploy one big software, pay millions of naira. It's as simple as you after buying fuel, for instance, at the field. It's as simple as you snapping that receipt because those receipts paid off easily. It's as simple as snapping it and just saving it, archiving it as part of your business. If it's a business expense, you snap the receipt, save it for the future of tax filing purposes. That is a form of, to me, that's a form of digitalization. And from there, we can also go to digital tools like accounting software, which makes SMEs maintain accurate records, making it easier for tax to be calculated, For instance, the FRS has encouraged the use of digital platform for tax filing and to enhance the transparency and compliance. We have what they call the tax promax.
Okay.
It involves using simple tools, and tools for the benefit of your business. I mentioned WhatsApp. I mentioned your phone. Snapping, snapping the receipts. Your phone, using them, backing them up somewhere, so that you can easily retrieve them when you need them. When you want to file your taxes or when you want to maybe prepare your accounts, either on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis.
Okay. All right. That is very important. Okay. Gilbert Musa, good evening to you. Gilbert Musa is in Investec, and he says, on the levies paid by small businesses in the informal sector, this irregular method of levy collection should be scrapped and reformed into a regulated model. Also, there's need for continuous education on how NIN module works, particularly for small businesses in Nigeria. Thank you so much for that. That's important. Cisco Feather says, no doubt, digitization of income tax operations will definitely reduce or remove corruption in the system. Well, there's that. However, he says that way, SMEs will be able to transfer their levies directly to their bank accounts rather than paper or receipt by staff. Your thoughts? I kind of agree with this one though.
Yes, I totally agree with. I totally agree with that notion. You know,
I agree. Okay. Yes. Now let's get into, now that we've talked a bit about the digitization and the affordability. I think that's where the small businesses get it all wrong. You were talking about how they think it's so complex. You need to get something extremely large to put things in place. So that could be the education that they need to understand that, okay, it's just simple things. You have your regular phone. What you need to do is take a picture of the receipts, save it, compile it, send it somewhere, and also makes life easier. And I also like what Gilbert Musa has also reiterated regarding the scrapping of this whole levy method to have something more regulated.
Yes, I think the government must show the willpower to do that. Government is so powerful, and the ball is in their court. If they are willing to do it, they can do it. Yes, they can do it, and even they can still use. I still believe they can still use the current players to achieve that, but in a more. There are ways you can capture all these roadside people, give them numbers, so that even all the levies pay can be
accountable,
accounted for. There's a way you can them that would, each person will have. You can link them to the NIN and NIN. So each informal player or trader pays at the end of it can be calculated. It's very easy. It just takes initiative and the willingness to improve to achieve all this. And as affordability, all this for softwares, the initial cost may vary. We have many affordable digital solutions for SMEs. Some based accounting software, that operates on a subscription-based model, which makes it accessible for small businesses with limited budgets.
Okay. Now let's get into the elephant in the room. That is the debate over Nigeria's new tax laws, which should take effect in January. How would this affect the SMEs? let's get into that one.
Oh, it's. I always say it's a good time to be alive, and there's for people. I always say there is nothing to panic about.
Right.
So it's not business as usual. A lot of people will be brought into the tax net, but I think this tax law, when it comes to play, would be more beneficial to the downtrodden. People with lesser income. The rich will pay more, while the poor will pay less. It's like that's why it's progressive nature.
Okay.
That's why it's progressive. So it's the new tax law is, the essence of it is to simplify compliance from SMEs, and it also includes reduced tax rates and exemption for specific industry. For it, take the Finance Act 2020, which was introduced to support small businesses during the COVID-19 era. So, as I said earlier, it's for instance, the the tax exempt for small businesses will be, as from January, will be increased from 25 million now to 100 million. That's a lot of relief for a lot of SMEs, small business owner. So that's one of the numerous
benefits to look at forward to.
So I believe it's a new way to boost economic growth. For now.
Okay. So there's nothing for them to fret. All you need to do is just let the tide flow, and you see how things pan out. But what's your outlook really for taxes in Nigeria for 2026? Will the reach basically pay more and SMEs pay less? Because that's what you've alluded to. But I'd like you to expatiate on that going forward. What should we be looking at?
Okay, like we all know that the essence of every government, or the essence of every fiscal policy, is to generate revenue, and Nigeria has been exploring various avenues to increase its revenue over time. For instance, we increased VAT from 5% to 7.5.
7.5, yes.
Yes, so it's a way. It's not something, to me. It's not something new. Okay. It's not new from what we've been having over time. Only that it's more holistic. Before we have plethora of taxes, over 60 something taxes, but now it has been
streamlined.
Yes, into fewer number. And for the future, analysts has predicted that by 2020, the tax policies in Nigeria will likely continue to evolve, towards progressive taxation, as I said earlier, where higher earners face increased rates, while SME may receive more incentives aimed to foster growth and formalization within the economy. So it's still a win-win situation for the SMEs.
Well, David has a question here, which I'd like you to touch on before we wrap things up. He says he earns and pays tax. He invests also part of his salary and pays withholding tax on previously taxed money. So isn't that double taxation?
It's not double taxation.
Okay.
Because in taxation, there's what we call earned and unearned income. Salary, and you must pay taxes on both.
Interesting.
So let me answer your question. We have earned and unearned income.
Okay.
Your income is your salary. You are expected to pay your salary. You pay taxes on your salary.
Tax from your salary.
Yes. Your investment income is an unearned income. If you have a house somewhere and you earn rent,
right?
Or you have investments in all these blue chip companies and they pay you dividends. You're expected to pay taxes on those dividends.
Interesting.
Those are unearned income. So it's not double taxation at all. They are different sources, and you must pay taxes on each source.
Okay.
So yes, I think that explains that.
All right. We learn every day.
If you need more enlightenment, you can see me in camera.
That is well put. Thank you so much for that insight, Adeniyi. And so for those who would like to see you in camera, how can they reach out to you on your social media handle?
My social media is open for all. It's just my name, Bamgboye Adeniyi. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Threads. I'm everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
So a quick search of my name on Google will bring a lot of information.
Handy.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's the much you can take today on Business Hub. Thank you so much for all that insight. Lagos, as you know, the conversation never ends and the music is always ready to keep you going. So, double muscle.
Thank you very much.
Very reasonable price.